Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Well guys, as you see, I have a finished object. I got my Tolsta Tee off the needles earlier this week and I was able to block it and everything. So it is all ready to go. I've been wearing it all day long. And this is the Tolsta Tee. This is the fingering weight version, the 4-ply by Rebecca Clow. I didn't do any kind of bust shaping or anything else. I just did a straight, I think I did a size 5. I won't swear to it. It's whatever the 48, I think it is, bust circumference that I did. So I really love this Tolsta Tee. If you've been watching me for a while, you know how much I love it. This is, in fact, number 6. I now have 2 that are 4-ply and 4 that are the DK weight, and I have plans to make at least 1 long sleeve blouse, possibly 2, 1 in DK and 1 in fingering. So if you're really interested in seeing all of them besides the 2 that I've done as part of my Tolsta Tee, which has been over the last few episodes, I do have an episode called It's All About the Tolsta, and kind of took the play off It's All About That Base. So it's all about that Tolsta and talked about my love of Tolstas on there. And if you've been watching, you know how much I love this. I mean, this is just by far my favorite fitting t-shirt. I live in one of these. This and the Anchor Tee are the 2 that I live in the summer all the time. I mean, I've worn this all day long. And I knit this out of the Bamboo Pop sock in the colorway Valentine. And honestly, it is not as pink on camera as it is in real person. It is brighter in real person. I absolutely love this color, and I have to give a shout out to my friend Lisa. She contacted me several weeks ago and said, hey, I don't like that yarn, but I have that yarn in that exact color. It's the same dye lot. I bought it from Letha's. I'm happy to give it to you so that you do not have to so that you don't have to play yarn chicken, because I was afraid I was going to play yarn chicken. So I gladly took it. She left it at Letha's. I picked it up. And I was so happy the other day because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm playing yarn chicken. And I wanted my sleeves longer than what they would have been if I had not, you know, had enough yarn. And so I wound up using about 17 grams out of the ball that Lisa had given me. Well, here's the funny part. And I wanted to make sure that I did the shout out anyway because of the fact that she gave it to me and it saved my bacon. Because I thought that that was it. I thought I'd already used 3 balls and I was like, man, I'm using a lot and it's not even long sleeved. Well, when I was cleaning up and moving some yarn around off of the couch, I found the extra ball of this that I had purchased. I'd purchased 3 balls. So it turns out I only needed a little bit over 2, but now I've got almost 2 of the Valentine left, and I think I'm going to get some white and do some color work. Maybe just do a little yoked t-shirt. So I'm really excited about that, and I just wanted to say thank you again to Lisa, even though it turns out I didn't really need it. It's great having that security and that insurance. All right, so today I'm going to try to make this fairly short and sweet because Brandon and Sarah and Dallin, her son, are coming over for dinner tonight, and I don't want to be like recording an hour and a half, which I don't think I've ever done, but I don't want to have a really long video as they're sitting in the living room waiting for me. They're not here yet, but they will just come right on in whenever they do get here. So today, honestly, guys, I've been on a trip. I have not had my usual how I do things, and I was in an in-person meetings all day on 2 of the days, so it's okay if I'm sitting here underneath the video and I'm knitting away and nobody sees anything, but I couldn't really grab and bring out my projects. I mean, we ate breakfast, and before we got started, I did knit then. I knit at lunchtime, but, you know, I couldn't be all like, oh, yes, let me bring out my stuff and start knitting on it while we're at an in-person thing. And I was up and down so much trying to go find people anyway. But so I haven't had as much knitting time. And I also, I've just been out of my routine. So I have a routine and I have certain goals set and I have certain times that I knit and I have all this. And I just didn't have all of that, even though I did knit in a bar this week. And that was kind of fun. Or I guess it would be last week now. And that was kind of fun watching one of the World Cup games with some guys from Croatia, I think it was, were in there with us. And that's who we were all rooting for because we had no skin in the game. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I mean, several of them, I'm just not bringing them in here because if I have not done anything since the last time I showed them to you, that's kind of boring. I don't have any progress. But guys, I do have progress on other things. I mean, like I said, I did finish my Tolsta. And my Staffin Lite, I am making some pretty significant headway on this. And I do think I will get this done maybe by next week. Maybe not, but within the next couple of weeks at least. Because last week, I think last episode, I had just gotten, sorry, this cone is just unruly. It has been all over the place today. But I think that last episode, maybe I was up here somewhere. And so I got this done, or maybe I was down here. Anyway, I got all of this done. I got the diamond done, and I'm halfway through with another 2x2. It is about right here on me. So I've got a bit to go, but it shouldn't take me all that long. And if I ever run out of yarn, this is still the first ball that I'm using. If I do run out of yarn before I finish the body, I will go ahead and do the sleeves real quick, and then I'll attach the other ball of yarn to the bottom and finish out the bottom. But we'll see. I should have this done, if not next week, the following week after that. I am really excited and really looking forward to wearing this. And I know I told y'all it was the Staffin Lite, but I didn't tell y'all who it was by. One of my favorites, Rebecca Clow. And so this is her Staffin Lite. I'm doing this as a buddy knit with my friend Ginger. The other night we were sitting up at the yarn shop and she was knitting away on her regular Staffin. And that's the long sleeved worsted weight one. And she was working away on that, and I was like, oh, I have that pattern. I could buddy knit it with you. I've been wanting to knit it. But then I got to thinking, I have the light version, and I'd really rather knit the t-shirt version since we are in the, beginning of summer. Even though it hasn't been that hot here, I do want to wear this before the season is over. So I went ahead and started working on the Staffin Lite. And this is the t-shirt version. I think there is a long sleeve, like you can modify it for long sleeves. I think she includes that. And she includes, this is the 4-ply or the fingering, and she has a DK weight. And like I said, I'm pretty sure the Staffin is just worsted. I have both patterns, and I'll be making both of them. I doubt very seriously that I'll make a DK weight of this one as well, since I'm going to make a worsted weight. I don't think that I need a fingering, a DK, and a worsted. I could be convinced that I'm wrong. But for now, I just have plans for this one and the regular Staffin. So, making pretty good progress on this, and I am using the Bendigo Woolen Mills 4-ply cotton in the colorway Cranberry Juice. Now, I have had a viewer graciously say, hey, if you want some more Bendigo Woolen Mills, I'm sure that some of your Australia viewers, hint, hint me, would be willing to help you out there. And I appreciate that a lot. I will tell you, this is the only color of the cotton that I really like. That doesn't mean that I don't want to try some of the other yarns. I haven't gotten a chance to use, and sorry about that, Cameron just went in his room. I haven't gotten a chance to use the other yarn that I bought, and I really want to use that, which is one of their tweeds. I really want to use that before I make a decision of, hey, do I want to order this? Because when I do, I will want to place a fairly large order because of the amount of shipping it will take to get it here to the United States, and then any tariffs, taxes, or anything else that I have to pay when it gets here. So that's where we're at on this, but I am really enjoying this. This is some really luxe cotton. I was shocked. I'm not a big cotton lover. This is some really luxe cotton, and I cannot wait to wear it. And it does keep seeming like it's big because it's so drapey. I keep thinking, oh, this is going to be too big on me. Did I knit it too big again? But I tried on and it fits beautifully. I know that it will grow as when I block it, but here's the great thing about cotton. I can throw it in the dryer and shrink it back down. That's what I do with all my Tolsta Tees and all my silk stuff and all that. That's why I don't have a problem with it growing too big, because when it gets to that point, I just throw it in the dryer. And it works wonders. All right. So, moving along to another buddy knit. I am knitting the Nia Sweater with Leah from Rubies and Pearls. Or Ruby and Pearls, not Rubies. Ruby and Pearls. And, okay, I'm saying pearls too. It is Ruby and Pearl. giving us our dogs' names, Ruby and Pearl. I'm having trouble with my words today because I'm trying to rush to make sure that Brandon and them don't have to wait. I'm going to slow myself down. This is the Nia Sweater. As you can see, I got one of the sleeves done because I finished up a ball of yarn and I decided that I would do the sleeve. I did this at my brother's house. And then I've gotten, there's 32 rows is a full repeat. And you do this 3 times and then you do the ribbing. So I've gotten 32 rows done, so I've got 2 more to do, so that is 64. And then I will do the ribbing as well, and then I will do the body. I am a little worried. I have this much of this ball, which this is a lot. It really is. I didn't use a complete ball over here. I used a ball and I had enough left to get to about here. So about that much. I had enough to do that much of this next sleeve. So hopefully I'll have enough of the body. I did get the recommended amount, and this is the recommended yarn for this. This is, again, the Nia Sweater. It's by Irene Lynn, and the recommended yarn is the Durarum Natura Gilead. I got the color Confiture de Rose, which means rose jam, so this is my rose jam Nia. I hope I have enough. I mean, I've got to obviously do the rest of this sleeve, and then I've got quite a bit of the body to do, though, because I do not want it cropped in any shape, form, or fashion. So I know Leah has finished hers, and she added an extra half a repeat, so 16 extra rows. I don't know if that'll be enough for me. This may be one of those times where it surprises me, and the yarn goes much further than I think it's going to. But if it doesn't, I will just order another ball from Wool & Company, and that'll give me an excuse to buy one in the, I think it's called balsam or pine. I don't remember, or maybe cedar. Anyway, there's a beautiful, beautiful green that I want to look at in person before I commit to a sweater quantity of. So, it'll give me an excuse to order that. But this is it. This is the Nia Sweater, and it is luscious, and I am knitting the smallest size because the smallest size is a 48-inch bust, and it says you can have 0 to some ungodly amount of positive ease. Well, 48 to 50, maybe 51 is where I like my positive ease to be, so it worked out that I am just doing the smallest one, not making any modifications to make it any smaller, right? So it is just, I'm just going along. And it is beautiful. This one I am hoping to have done by next week. That's why I say I may not have the Staffin Lite done. I really, really want this one done next week because Leah's already done. I want to catch up with her, right? It's a competition and I lost. It's not really a competition, but I certainly did not finish first if it was. So I need to get a move on and get this sleeve done. I am planning on working on this sleeve tonight and tomorrow, and hopefully I'll get this done by this weekend. All right. Then quickly moving on to the other one that Leah, sorry, I just dumped my yarn ball. Leah kind of influenced me. I'm telling you, if Michelle did not already have the Easily Knitfluenced on her podcast as her podcast name, I might have to change mine because I am very easily knitfluenced. Leah made this, and she did a buddy knit with the Black Sheep Knitter, and she graciously added me to that chat whenever I said that I wanted to make this, and this is the Arrow Tee, and oh, it is so, so nice. It's going to be a very deep V because I just did 9 out of 15 repeats where you do a 4-row repeat and you're increasing once that 4 rows. So if I have 6 more to go, I've got 24 more rows to go before I join it in the round. And this, then you pick up and you do ribbing to fill in that V. Oh, this is so nice. And this yarn, oh my word. This is Cotton 365 by Lana Grossa. It is a discontinued yarn. I got it out of somebody's stash. Oh my word. This is, oh my gosh, it's wonderful. It's got a little bit of polyamide in it. I want to say maybe 10%, 12%. I don't know. It's beautiful though. It is so, so, so nice. And it is classified as a worsted, but I am using it as a DK. So I am really excited about this. This one's probably going to take me at least 2 more weeks to get it done. But I have been working on this, and I did take this to Philly with me along with this to work on because they were easy, mindless projects. So like I said, I've got 24 more rows until I get it to the point where I join it together. And then once I join it in the round, that should go pretty quickly. And then I will have the sleeves and then picking up and doing all of that ribbing. That ribbing's going to be the part that's going to take me forever. But I'm really excited about this. I'm a little nervous about how it's going to fit because it is supposed to have negative ease. And so I did knit a negative ease. I've never knit a negative ease, so I'm a little nervous, but I didn't do the waist shaping, so I'm not nipping in, so hopefully it will fit fine. If it does not, if it is too tight and I'm super uncomfortable, I will wait and see if I lose any more weight because I am still gradually losing some weight. If it does bother me that much, I'll see about that. And then if I just don't lose the weight fast enough, I will gift it to somebody. And I'll make sure that somebody gets some wear out of it. But I am hopeful that it's going to fit right. All right. And this is the Arrow Tee by Odd Row. I know I keep forgetting to tell y'all who it is. And I also have not shown y'all my stitch stoppers. I will do all of that at the end. I'll just show you all of them in a parade since I have forgotten. But again, this is the Cotton 365 by Lana Grossa. It is discontinued, and this is the colorway Navy. If anybody out there has any of this in a t-shirt quantity and wants to get rid of it, ping me and let me know what color, because whew, I might be stalking some people's Ravelry stash to try to get me some more of this yarn. It's really, really nice. All right. And then I'm going to pull this up, and then I'll talk about this last thing that I've just cast on, because I've got a little problem and I need some help. I'm pulling this out because I'm hoping that it's going to light a fire under me and make me go ahead and get the other side done. This is the Mosaic. It's by Marie Wallen, and it's the Mosaic bag or the Mosaic. I'll put the name up here as I always do. But I will not list all the colors because that would take up too much screen. But this is Marie Wallen's design, and I am using Marie Wallen's, her yarn as well. So it's all the different colors. This is the exact colors that she recommends, and I'm doing it exactly like the pattern. I loved the colors. Now, one thing, and I don't think that I've talked about this already on the channel. Maybe I did in an early video. But one thing that I want to talk about real quick about this is I had to laugh at myself. Because I knit this up, and this is, I think Jamieson and Smith's regular jumper weight, you know, the Shetland type wool, or Jamieson's the Shetland. It's that type of wool. And because she used to use Jamieson and Smith in a lot of her stuff, and then she switched to her own yarn. And it is a very nice yarn. But it's really rustic and all that. And I knitted it up, and I was like, well, I am not impressed with this yarn. It's kind of fuzzy looking. The details, I mean, it was not popping these designs. I'm like, what the heck? I thought that this Shetland stuff was supposed to be great for color work. Well, Marie Wallen puts a note in there and says that you need to steam block this with a hot iron. And she tells you how to do it. Right, with getting like a wet dishcloth or whatever and laying it on top and then using a hot iron to create the steam with that. I'm thinking, whatever. Oh my gosh, I did it, and now look at it. It's beautiful. And I did this right after I got it done, so it's not like I just did it today. But I was really shocked at the transformation, and I'm like, okay, Melissa. And it was another one of those reminders that designers don't put things in their patterns and don't tell us things for fun and giggles. You know, they're not like, oh, I hope somebody follows this because it doesn't work. No, they're not doing that. They're trying to make our lives easier, and they're trying to make their designs work for us. So it was definitely one of those, another eye opening, you know, I could have had a V8 kind of moment where I was like, I should have just not even questioned it and just done it, because it is beautiful. And like I said, I'm really hoping that it's going to make me do the other side of this. This is a mosaic design. And so you never work with more than one color. It is beautiful. It really did work up fast. I know people complain about mosaic. You're basically knitting, but you know, the same row twice, and they complain about that it takes forever. This did not take forever. I think this took me a day and a half to do. And I want to get it done because I am making one for Michelle and one for Teresa too. We are not doing a girls trip this year, but I want to try to get it done for when we do our knitting retreat in November. And so the thing that I am going to do is I am going to change like some of these big ones. Like I'll do on Michelle's, I'll do it with the purple, or or maybe it's this that I'm going to change. Anyway, I'm going to change some of this to where some of the colors up to where that we each have a unique design, but we are still using the same pattern. And then I'll do Teresa's a little bit different as well. So I'll just change the colors up a little bit to make sure that each one of us have something unique. All right, and then last but not least, I started and cast on a new buddy knit today. My friend Marla had reached out and said, hey, I'd love to buddy knit with you. I want to do the Tain, and she's already got the yarn and everything. And the Tain is out of the 52 Weeks of Sweaters, and it is the Rebecca Clow one that is just absolutely stunning. And I picked up some yarn when I was in Springfield. And I got the recommended yarn, which is the Moda, and I got this beautiful turquoise color. I don't remember, this is Wool Dreamers Moda, and I don't know the exact color name, but I'll put it down here. But as I said, as you can see, it's this beautiful turquoise color. And all I've done is I cast on and I did the setup row. Here's where I need your help. If you have made this, please let me know. So she has you do a setup row, and when you start out over here at the beginning, you do a purl one, knit one, all the way down, and then you do a purl one. Well, I put that in the wrong place. But anyway, then you put a marker and you do a knit one as your little raglan. And then you do the purl one, knit one, all the way down, and you do a purl one. So you start with the purl one. Well, you do a half fisherman's rib, and in the directions it says you start with a knit one. So I've got a comment out there saying, hey, is this right, or is that first purl stitch a throwaway stitch, right? Is it just you will always purl that and it's not part of it? So you're doing like a ridge around it or something, I don't know. And then you go into half fisherman's rib with the knit stitch. Or do I just ignore that it's a purl one and I just do it like it says to do it and go on? And it's not going to make a difference. If you've made this, what did you do? Because it's blowing my mind. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that. As you can see, haven't made a whole lot of progress, but I am very excited to get this done, and I do feel like it's going to probably fly off my needles. Now, I have a couple of other things, but first, let me show you, starting with this one, my little stitch stoppers. I've got little baby goats on this one. I think they are absolutely adorable. I love the little goats, and I'm having so much fun with these. I will probably buy some more this year. And then with my Nia, I have my little bees, and those are just so adorable to me. So I'm using those there. And then the only other one that I have something on is here, and I'm pretty sure that I've shown y'all these before. And these are the little turtles. And I have to tell you, they remind me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles every time I look at them. I don't know why, but I think it's the shell, how they've got the shell. But that's all I can think of every time that I see them is they're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I don't have any on this one because it is knit flat. All right, so another thing to talk about real quick. I've got two things actually. I got accepted for the Aiden test knit, and that is a cable design by Stitches and Stem. And it is beautiful. She did this. Her grandfather had a sweater and she recreated it. I think it is such a tribute to her grandfather. And it just makes my heart happy every time that I hear the story and every time that I see the design. Well, I've been swatching for this because she must be a really tight knitter, because on a DK using a size US 6 or a 4mm needle, she gets a gauge of 23 stitches for the cable and 25 stitches for the honeycomb. That is a small gauge to me. That seems more like a sport gauge. So I did swatch with sport, and I did get gauge on a US 6. If I pinned it, which I did not, if I pinned it, it would be a little bigger. So I think I could go down to a 5, because I'm not sure that I think it's a little too open, and it's not as good a stitch definition, but I think it would be okay. And it was this cone right here. It's 100% merino. I think it'd be okay if I wanted to use this and go down a needle size, but it's also really, really drapey to be a cabled sweater. I think I've decided I'm going to, Letha has some Titicaca that I think would go perfect with this. I'm going to take this with me tomorrow night and see, and then I could hold that together and make something. So I don't think I'm going to use this. Well, then I decided that I would do a swatch out of Malabrigo Dos Tierras. It's their 50% merino, 50% alpaca. This is absolutely stunningly beautiful, and I did meet gauge, but it's on a size 4. I really don't want to knit a cabled sweater on DK out of a size 4. It was starting to bother my hands, and the fabric's really dense. So I'm not sure that I love the fabric on this, although it is beautiful, and I am going to knit a cabled sweater out of this. There is no question, and I have plenty of it. I've got almost 2,200 yards. There is no question this will become a cabled sweater because, oh, look at that. But not using a size 4 or a 3.5 millimeter needle. So what I have landed on, and I used a US 5 or a 3.75 with this, and this is the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino. I think it has just worked out stunning. I'm not going to use this cream. This is the color that I have for the Billy cardigan. I will be able to use this as my gauge swatch for it. Or not cardigan, the Billy sweater. I'm making the Billy sweater by Sorry Nordblend out of this. And I'll be able to use this as the gauge swatch for that as well. But I am going to get some ballerina pink during yarn crawl from Letha. She's ordering another bag so that I can get plenty. I'll need 16 balls. So I won't cast this on until after yarn crawl, which is, I think the first weekend is July 17th. I won't swear to that. But I will pick that up, and so I'll cast on after that. But guys, it's not due until November, so I've got plenty of time to do that. But I think this is what I'm going to go with. Let me know if you completely disagree and you think that I should go with this as the sweater. But I really think that I like this better. I do, and I think my row gauge is better on this. This seems like a, well, it doesn't seem like, it is a much shorter row gauge, right? And I did get gauge out of this. This, I had to stretch it a little bit to get gauge. I could probably go up to US 5. Let me know what you think. So that's that test knit. And then I have another buddy knit with the Knitting Shepherdess, who also has a YouTube channel, and she is fabulous. Her name is Maria. She is so nice. We have been in communication trying to figure out what to wear, and I'll pop a picture up here. I'll also pop a picture of the Aiden sweater, but I'll pop a picture of the buddy knit that we're going to do. We're going to do, I think it's called the Silba, and it is by Hot Buttered Yarns. And it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, I will be honest, because it is a chart unlike I've ever seen, but I think that I'll be able to figure it out. But again, I'm having problems swatching for this. It is a DK, and she has a 25 stitch gauge on it on a US 6 on a DK weight in Fair Isle. I have a Fair Isle sweater that I made last year holding super soft together double, which makes a DK. And my gauge is 21 stitches. There is no way. I am not knitting a DK color work on like a US 3 or a 2.75, or no, that'd be a 3.25. I am not doing that. No, not doing that. So I am now trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do. If I'm going to use super soft and figure out what it is, or if I'm just going to do that gauge and do a smaller size. That won't matter for me because it's not a test knit. I can't do that with this because I need to do the size that I committed to. But I could absolutely make a smaller size and use the DK and just have a bigger gauge. If I go down to a 5, because I have a colorwork sweater as well with size 5, a US 5 or a 3.5 or 3.75 millimeter needle, and my gauge on that is 22. So I could do either one of those and knit a size or 2 smaller than what I would normally knit. I don't know, or like I said, if I want to just swatch with, because it is Fair Isle and I need 11 different colors, and I could get 11 different colors. I also have a I have a regular, it's stockinette, it's not Fair Isle. And I do know that that changes a little bit, but I have a sweater made out of Drops Flora that I would be able to meet gauge on, you know, like a US 3 or a US 4. I also have my sweater that I did out of Pure Ghent, or 10 Pure Ghent, and I would be close to meeting gauge on that. I think it was a 24. I could absolutely get a 25 out of that, but I would have to buy those yarns. I have enough super soft back there. 11 colors would be no problem. So I just have to think about that. And let me know what y'all think about that. Should I try to do it with the super soft and get gauge, whether I have to go down to a US 2.5 or a US 3, a 3 millimeter or 3.25 to get gauge? It doesn't really bother me that bad. Do you think that I should swatch for that? Or should I just go with one of the DKs? I don't want to hold super soft double again, but I could go with like Drops Lima would be a alpaca wool, which is what the designer actually does in her kit. I could do that, but again, I'd have to buy, well, I might not actually have to buy those yarns for the drops. I might have enough colors around here because it uses just a little bit of each one. I might have enough colors around here to do 11 and not have to buy, or I could get Drops Daisy, which is 100% merino. I would have to buy that. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. And then I am going to now switch to acquisitions because I do have some acquisitions this week. I told y'all last week I had some stuff coming. And I'll start with what I had coming. So I was wrong. I told y'all that I had ordered turquoise. I did not actually order a cone of turquoise tides. So now I'm trying to convince myself that I do not need to order the cone of turquoise, but I am losing that battle, thinking that I need to, and as well some other colors. But I will tell you, this is, I'm going to reach up here because I want y'all to see. This is Nightshade that I made my brother's sweater out of, and this is Mare's. Those are pretty close. They are different. These in person, these are different. And I think you can tell on here they're a different shade. And so I'm glad that I got it because Nightshade is one of my favorite colors. And that sold out the very first day. I could not get my hands on another cone of that. I've got 2 partial cones up there because I held it double. And so I'm glad that I got this because I do want to make myself a couple of things out of this colorway. Now, the other thing that I got that is also very, very close to one of the other ones is I got, and I'm going to pull it out. This is Confetti because I just, for whatever reason, I thought it was just beautiful and I needed it really bad. This is Iris that I had already gotten. Look how close those are. Those are almost the exact same color. So I thought what I could do with this is I could hold this double. Now I can do one of 2 things. I can destash this and just sell it for what I paid for it plus shipping. And I'm not looking to make any money. But I could destash this, or I could hold these 2 together and make like a cabled sweater or something out of it. I think that would be beautiful. And I actually thought about swatching using these 2 for the Aiden. Let me know if you think that I should try swatching with these 2 together to make the Aiden, because I don't have anything this color. So there's that. I told you that I was getting those. I did in fact get those in. Put that little yarn back up there. And so that came in. This was my whole scarn. And then the other thing that I told y'all that I had already ordered was the Knit Picks when they did the 246 sale. And I got this beautiful, beautiful colorway. This is, it's 43, 45. It tells me though a color name. I know it does. Regal, I think, is the color name. But this is the palette. And yes, I know it peels. I had somebody say, I will never buy knit picks again, it peels. To me, peeling is just part of having a sweater. I just depeel it. It doesn't bother me. So I don't have a problem with it peeling. And I just, this color is just stunning. And I do have a plan for this. I don't remember what that plan is. So if I remember what that plan is, I will post a picture up here. If I don't remember, there will be no picture. The same for the next thing. This is gloss. And that one was $2. This one was $4. And this, though, is 70% merino wool and 30% silk. I will tell you, I expected it to be softer with it being merino silk. It's not quite as soft as I expected, but this is a lace weight. So I did get 8 of these because I will have to hold them together. I do not want to do a sweater out of lace weight. I mean, it wouldn't bother me too bad. It'd just take me a really long time. But I want to hold this together. Another thing that I could do is I could hold it with like this Tundra and hold that together. This is a super soft, but I really think that this is soft enough. I just want to hold it double. So I have a plan for it as well. Again, I'm not sure that I remember. If a picture pops up, you'll know that I figured it out. If it does not, you'll know I didn't. Now, from there, I had a wonderful viewer reach out to me, Paloma, who provided some of the prizes for our Tolsta KAL, and those have all been drawn, and everybody's been notified. So I'm not going to list on here who all won. I've already done that in our group chat. But she reached out and said that she had ordered, and look, it matches. She had ordered some Universal yarn from Universal Yarn. She had ordered this, and they had sent her the wrong color. This was not the right color. She had 3 of these. She asked me if I would be interested in them. Well, of course I am, because they told her, we'll send you the right colors and just keep those. Well, she has no use for them. And I'm a pink girly. I mean, obviously, right? So I said, of course, thank you. I did offer to pay for shipping, but she graciously paid for the shipping as well. Thank you so, so much. And I was very excited because Letha has this at her shop as well. And she's got a purple and a turquoise. So I think I'm going to try to find a color work yoke that has like 3 colors to wear, because these 3 colors go well together. And I could do a 3-color yoke in it. Or maybe even get some green or something, because I did see I forget the name of it. I was watching a Fleece and Harmony, and there Simone had a stunning, I'm not big into the flowers, but she had one that I'm really going to have to knit. I got to go back and watch that again so that I can see what it was. And this might go well with it if it is in fact a fingering, because this is a fingering weight yarn. So that was very, very sweet. And then she included some stickers for me. Oh, it killed me not to put these on my computer. So these will go on my computer today as soon as we get done here. But I wanted to make sure that I could show y'all. And they are so cute. Very New Orleans-y. That's where she lives. And look at the little frog and the little umbrella. It looks like they might be out celebrating Mardi Gras. And then a Halloween theme with the little ghosties. And then finally, and I thought this was perfect because I do love to read, and then I frog a lot of things. So just a little frog reading. I thought those were absolutely adorable. Thank you again. That was so incredibly kind of you to reach out to me and ask me, and then to send these stickers. Cannot wait to get these on my computer. All right. And then everybody, if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen some yarn followed me home. I could not go to Philly without going to Kelborn Woolens, and I just found out we are going back to Philly the next 2 PIs. So I will be going back to Philly in September, right before my birthday, and I will go back to Philly in December. Oh yes, I will be going back to Kelborn Woolens again, because they do not sell cones, but they had a cone there, and they had another cone there that I did leave. But I will talk about this in just a second. But I could not go and not go to Kelborn Woolens. So I did go, and I did buy some things. I'd been wanting to try the Germantown, not the DK. I wanted the worsted. And I do have a plan for this. There's 2 that I'm thinking about. One is an Andrea Mowry. I don't remember the name of it. And I don't remember the name of the petite knit either. It's one of her cables. I'll put those pictures up here, and I am going to do one of those out of this. So let me know which one you think that I should do. But I went ahead and got a sweater quantity of these. I made sure I had enough to do either one of those sweaters. And guys, they had their warehouse sale last weekend, so I left on Wednesday. Boy, am I glad I didn't know, because I would have made sure that I stayed for that. And then I would have had to buy a whole new suitcase. I might have had to, although they probably would have shipped it off for me as much as I would have spent. But, oh my, no. I'm very thankful that I did not know that, and that I did not allow myself to change my flight. It would have been very dangerous for me. But this is in the dark magenta. I could not walk out of there without buying this colorway. Is this not gorgeous? And then I bought Harmony. This is a color that Letha doesn't have it, and I don't think Ozark Knitting Company has it either. But this is absolutely beautiful. And it is kind of a blue leaning light purple color. And I thought, you know, I could hold those together. I think that would go well together. I've got some other purples in my stash that I think that I could hold it with that would make just a really pretty sweater. Probably just something very plain, a Monday sweater, a roomy raglan, whatever. But whatever would be a DK, because I'd hold this with a fingering weight. But isn't that gorgeous? And then the cone. So Kelborn Woolen does not sell cones, but sometimes she said they would have an overrun of something, or they'd have something, the color wasn't just quite right. And so instead of skeening it up, they would just leave it on the cone, and they just display them in the shop. They will sell them if people ask them. Some of them apparently they won't, but this one they would. And this is not my usual color, but look at that. So this is going to become a cabled cardigan, and I will post a picture up here and put the name, and I will show y'all what this is going to become. I cannot wait. I don't think that I will have enough. It is worsted. It's the Aran base, and it's cinnamon or copper is what I can see that it is. But I laugh too, because look at this. It's bigger than my head. It's a huge cone. I cannot wait. I mean, I am in love with this. I'm going to have to buy some more of this yarn, because oh my gosh. It is a mix. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's an Irish wool. I'll put the composition up here. It is absolutely beautiful, and I do want this in some other colorways. I was really excited. And then they did have a cone of Cricket, which is their fingering weight tweed, but it was the colorway Tomato, which is kind of more of an orangey red. And I decided that I didn't want that color bad enough, but they did tell me that if I changed my mind and I call them and they still have the cone, they'd ship it to me. If they'd had it in their pink or their burgundy or even their navy blue, that cone would have come home with me. I'm glad that they did not, because I would not have been able to fit it in my suitcase. But yeah, this, I'm very excited about this. And I have just touched it and rubbed it and all of that. It's 2,350 yards, so it's plenty enough to make that cardigan. I don't think I'll have enough to make anything else out of it. Now, I went through and I looked for the yarn and I looked at the projects, and that's how I came up with this cardigan that I want to do. If y'all have a sweater, a pullover, or even another cardigan that you're like, no, you don't need to make that cardigan. Here's the pattern you actually need to make out of that. Let me know. But unless I hear something different, this is going to become that cabled cardigan. And now I have to put it down. And I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to tell y'all I had a fabulous time while I was gone. And I will post some pictures up here. Spent Friday and Saturday with my brother and Digi. And Digi's sister, who is older than her, and she has been gone for several years now, was also an artist. I've got some pictures that I took of some paintings that she had taken. I think I've shown them before, but I'll post those up here again. And then I wound up with a painting that she was trying to get hung, and I said something about how adorable I thought it was and how much I would love, you know, how much I loved it. And she offered it to me, and I gratefully took it, and it is going to be hung. I'm actually going to ask Brandon if he can do it tonight. I want it hung over, like when I sit here, I look at my winding station, and I have a blank wall over it. I want that picture there so that every time that I record a podcast, I see it. Every time I wind yarn, I see it. And I think about Digi and Shasha. And I mean, they're just wonderful. And so I had such a wonderful time. We went and had dinner, and then we had lunch. And it was pretty funny. Digi did like a little smorgasbord lunch. And I will tell you, there's not a lot. She eats like a bird, so Alan and I were fairly hungry when we left that day, but we wouldn't have traded it for the world. She was so excited to be able to put out things and just make a little smorgasbord, and had such a good time. And then from there, on Sunday, Alan and I just hung out together, and then I flew off to Philly bright and early at 5:25 in the morning, Monday morning. And I'm telling you, it was the forgetful day. It was the day I forgot everything. I left my medication in the hotel refrigerator, realized it as I was in the parking garage of the airport. Really didn't have enough time to turn around and go back and get it. So I called them. They graciously went up immediately, got the medication out of the refrigerator, put it in their refrigerator in the kitchen. And I picked it up whenever I got back. But I got on my plane, I read my Kindle, I knitted on this, I sat there and minded my own business. The flight was fine, it was great, and I left my Kindle in the back seat pocket. So, I had to do lost and found. They did find it. It made it to my house, home, before I did by a few hours. And so then I got on the next flight. Everything was great. I was supposed to meet my friend Eric there, and we were going to navigate the bus back to the hotel and all, because he's never navigated the train, or not the bus, but the train. He had never navigated trains. Well, he wound up not getting in until almost 2, and I got in at 10 something. So, hence I went to Kelbourne Woolens and met up with my friend Pam. And then we went back on the train to get Eric and brought Eric back to the hotel. And then we hung out all night. We went and had dinner and a couple of drinks. And then we went to a cigar lounge and hung out there, and it was a whiskey bar as well. And I did learn something interesting, which is most of the wood that goes into these oak aging barrels for whiskey and stuff comes from the Ozark Mountains, which is where I live. So I found that very interesting. I'll post pictures because I do have pictures of all of this. And then the next day, hung out with my team, and that night went out with the team for dinner, and I might have gotten a little bit tipsy and a little bit sappy with them. But it was a great time, and I did knit in a bar watching the FIFA World Cup. And so I'll show you, I've got a picture of me, of my Tolsta sitting there in my lap in the bar. And then the next day I got up and I was like, whoo, tipsy knitting. Tipsy and knitting do not go together. I had done something where I had a stitch that was like crossed over like 5 or 6 stitches. Do not know what I did, but I had to tink back a few rows. Well, I didn't actually tink back. I just, when I got to them, I took that part out and I fixed it. But yeah, I was laughing about that, and my guys were laughing at me too. And I have pictures of me and my team. I'll post those up there as well. I did get everybody's permission that I was going to post this. So, had a really great time, and looking forward to going back to Philadelphia and hanging out with them again, because while I really, really love working remote, I do miss getting to be with my team in person. And so every 3 months I will get to do that, which is a nice little happy medium. All right, and then one final thing that I wanted to talk about real quick is, and Michelle with Easily Knitfluence talked about this on her podcast this week, you know, everything that we see online is very carefully curated. Like, I have curated where I sit. Yes, y'all do see a little bit of the chaos with the barrel there and all of that, but y'all don't see what's in front of me. If I'm brave enough, and I mean, I know I've been brave enough to show y'all my belly, but that's completely different to me. Letting y'all into the chaos that's my knitting room. If I'm brave enough, I'll post a little video that I took right before I sat down so that y'all can see. If I'm not, I won't post it, but I do want to say, guys, what we see on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and every other social media is very carefully curated. You see what we as creators want you to see, and you do not see any of the chaos in our lives if we do not want you to see them. And I personally think that that contributes to our mental health problem that we have going on, because we see things and we as human beings compare ourselves, right? We see, let's say we're a stay-at-home mom. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I see this content creator and this influencer who churns her own butter, and she does all of this other stuff, and her house is always immaculate. And girl, she curates that. That is not real life. Maybe there are people that really do have it together like that, but I am not one of them. And so I have decided that I want to share that with y'all. Michelle shared her knitting drawer and how unorganized it was, because she was very, very blessed that Thread and Maple sent her a binder, a little mini binder. It was really, really cute. I loved it. And I was like, ooh, I'd love to have one of those. One of these days I may buy a Thread and Maple. But I don't have a knitting drawer. I've got a whole room that is unorganized like that. And I do need to organize my stash. And I will get around to organizing my stash. And if I do, I will maybe do a video about it. This part is very organized. The parts that are in the zippered bags that are not in one of these barrels is not organized. And then I have yarn that just does not have anywhere to live. And so it just is there in a pile. And that's the part you'll see. So I just did want to touch on that, because it really does bother me that we compare ourselves to people who, what they're showing us is curated. So don't judge yourself and how you're able to get things done or not done by what anybody posts on social media, because it is not real. It is curated. You see what they want you to see. And it does really bother me that I do think that that is harming us from a mental standpoint, and I don't want to be part of the problem. So I will, in fact, be brave enough, and I will post that little video. There is no question. All right. So with that, guys, I'm going to get off here, because I am sure that I have my son in the living room waiting for me, and possibly Sarah and Dallin as well. I did clean them spaces to sit. So they do have places that they can sit that is not covered in yarn. So I am going to get off here so that I can go spend some time with them. And I will see y'all next week. And until then, I do hope that y'all have a wonderfully knitty